Hello, welcome to Parenting Tips with Emem. Today we are treating the topic parents as role models to their children. In many ways, your children will likely model and pattern after you. It's important for you to become aware of this, that your children are observing you, they're taking cues from you, and they will likely follow after you in their beliefs, values, mannerisms, attitudes, behaviors. Many behaviors that children have come from copying the patterns that parents lay out before them. By nature, imitating is one way that children learn. They pick up a lot from the environment by being observant and mimicking what they see. So, as they keep observing their parents act in a certain way, without consciously meaning to, they will try to repeat what they see. It has been said that actions speak louder than words. As parents, we influence our children with our words, but our actions will tend to be more impactful and influential on them. So, work on being the best model of who you would like your children to be, character wise. Let's explore some areas that parents should be conscious of. This list is by no means exhaustive. The first point I would like us to look at is that your disposition to the things of God matters. Parents will influence the religious values of their children. The question is, how do you treat God and the things of God? Are you passionate about God, or do you drag to service and have a tendency of complaining about everything? Do you really enjoy worship? Is there enough joy and excitement in your relationship with God? Enough to rub off on your children? Parents who complain about the church and exhibit boredom with the things of God may raise children who grow up to resent God and the church. Letting your children see how important God is in your daily life has the potential of aiding your children make God an important person in their lives. Secondly, how parents treat people matter. Yes, we are to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, and then we are also to love our neighbors as ourselves. Parents who make a habit of humiliating, belittling, shaming, and criticizing others, especially those who are less privileged, are communicating to their children that these other people and their feelings are not important, and so they should be treated with disdain and disrespect. On the other hand, parents who value people and choose to treat others with respect are good role models for their children. It's also good to model a healthy relationship with your parents. We know that while the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. What you sow into the lives of your parents, you will likely reap from your children. So resist the temptation to rehearse the fault of your parents to the hearing of your children. Let your children see that you deeply love and respect your parents and that you are doing your best to honor them. Where there have been human errors and mistakes have already been made, seriously consider making the necessary amendments. Even if your parents are late already, the least you can do is speak well of them. I hope you are getting value out of this. My name is Emem. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram with the name Parenting Tips with Emem. Let's go on a short break and I'll be right back. Welcome back to Parenting Tips with Emem. We have been looking at the topic parents as role models to their children. So far, we have explored some areas where I believe that it's important for parents to be conscious of what they do because their children are watching them and patterning after them in these areas. In continuation, I want you to be aware of the fact that your disposition of modesty also matters. Human beings actually have the innate predisposition to cover their nakedness, and this can be reinforced through training. We teach our children modesty by our examples. They may not necessarily grow up to dress like us, but they will likely adopt our position on modesty. It is good for parents to insist that their children dress modestly because doing this can actually encourage chastity. It's also good for parents to model forgiveness because in this life, offenses are inevitable. And with other things, your children will likely pick up on the way that you handle offenses. If you are quick to forgive, in all likelihood, your children will pattern after that. If you have a bitter and unforgiving attitude, your children may also grow into bitter, unforgiving adults. So model forgiveness before your children. It's also important for parents to model authenticity. In other words, walk your talk. Parents who have to carefully practice what they preach. Our children want to see authenticity, especially so in the teen years. Once your children can establish that you are credible, they'll find it easier to invest their trust in you and look up to you because they deem you dependable. They want to listen to you and they want to, see you as their role model. Usually, children can discern hypocrisy when the action of their parents are not in tandem with what they preach and advocate. This can make children confused and disillusioned. And as they grow into teenagers, they may want to begin to look towards others as role models. But if you are walking your talk, they will continue to look up to you as their role model. Let what you advocate, what you preach be consistent with your deeds. This by no means calls for perfectionism. It is good for our children to know that we are not perfect. But let them see that we are committed to personal development, as well as practicing what we stand for. I also want to encourage you to protect your character. When you are faced with a temptation, when you are enticed to compromise on your values on any front, please think on the efforts that you have put into building your character so far. Think about what giving in can possibly mean for your children, knowing that they are observing your life, they are learning from you, and are following your footsteps. Think about it. How disappointed will your children possibly be if a compromise you made in the secret comes to light? Rationalizing that nobody will ever get to know about it is a delusion. Let's give this a thought. There were no other human beings present to get to know about what Adam and Eve did. But what they did, their actions, the consequences of it, rubbed off on their children. As parents, there is wisdom in protecting our character. Integrity is really key in parenting. So let's avoid compromising our values in the secret and in the open. Let's talk about self-inventory. It has been said that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Sometimes you may notice a particular character trait that is not very desirable in your child. Pause and take a self-inventory. Honestly assess if your children that are copying this trait from you. Hopefully you'll find yourself not guilty. That will convey some form of moral authority on you to correct what is wrong. But if you are guilty, you have to work on correcting yourself first and then become the champion of that good character trait before your children. Teach it and model it. So what we have shared so far is that essentially what parents do on a daily basis will influence their children, because parents are the first role models that children have. Thank you very much for spending this time with me. My name is Emem. I'd like to have you on our social media community. The name to find on Facebook and on Instagram is Parenting Tips with Emem. Until next time, I'd like you to remain blessed and to remember that God keeps all of his promises.